What's up, guys? McKay here with another Clean Tech Daily Technology News Review, and today's a little bit more of a different kind of technology review, but I still think it is extremely insane about this article the Wall Street Journal just published, and I think it's definitely worth diving into because I think we're going to be starting to see a lot more of these articles. As you can see by the title here, it says, "These TikTok stars made more money than many of America's top CEOs," and notably, this covers two of the most top TikTok artists. So let's dive into exactly how much these TikTok artists made compared to some of the largest CEOs in the world. So Charli D'Amelio, I don't know if I'm not pronouncing her name right, but we're going to call her Charli, has started posting videos of herself dancing on TikTok in 2019. That brought in a whole $17.5 million last year, according to Forbes, which recently ranked the highest earning TikTok stars of 2021. She has 133 million followers on TikTok, and she makes her money from a clothing line and promoting products in TikTok videos and other ads. So sponsors will come to her and say, "Hey, will you promote this remote in your TikTok video?" And she'll make a dance and go, "All right, cool. Like if you want this remote that I just did a dance with, check it out." And she makes a large part of her income from that. And then she's also started her own clothing line, which I imagine is extremely, hopefully it's profitable. At least it's pulling in quite a bit of revenue. I obviously don't know her profit margins or anything like that, but it does look like she is earning quite a bit. So it begins to compare some of the top CEOs of the S&P 500. And for example, the median pay for CEOs was $13.4 million in 2020 compared to Charli D'Amelio's $17.5 million the year before. So on average, she beat most of the CEOs in the S&P 500. And the difference is hers isn't issued necessarily in stock option, but it is issued in cash or like actual liquidation. Because this article talks about some of the CEO compensation figures include stock and option awards, typically make up most of the executive pay, as well as annual salary and bonus perks, and some kinds of retirement benefit gains. Whereas the difference is hers is pretty liquid. Pretty liquid $17.5 million compared to the CEOs, which is usually tied up in assets for a number of years. Only some 2021 CEO compensation figures have been released so far. So as it says here, Ms. D'Amelio's compensation was higher than several CEOs of being public traded companies, including the big giant ExxonMobil. Darren Woods he made $15.6 million in 2020, but a TikTok artist made about $17.4 million, which is absolutely insane. You also have the CEO of Starbucks, Kevin Johnson. He made $14.7 million, but again, she beat him. And then the Delta Airlines CEO, Ed Bastian, made $13.1 and McDonald's CEO made $10.8 million, according to the journalist analyst of the recent compensation figures, which I think is absolutely crazy. And now this is where the story gets even crazier. Her sister has about half the amount of TikTok followers that she does, but she was also the second highest earning TikToker from the year before. I imagine I hate to say it, but it's probably true. She's riding the coattails of her sister, so a brand deal's like, "Hey, will you and your sister do this?" So I imagine they get a good 2-for-1 in terms of brand deals on that. And I don't know if she has any part of the clothing line or not, but these are the two girls right here. And she earned about $10 million, and that rivals the pay of the Southwest Airlines CEO, Gary Kelly. And the sisters didn't want to comment on this article, and they're building. This is a quote from Meg Kawarski, the founder of the influencer marketing agency. She said they're building empires. So it's pretty crazy. They have a clothing brand as well as just sponsorships throwing money at them. She noted that many top TikTok influencers run new companies, launch brands, and diversify their income streams. The numbers we see now are only getting bigger. Absolutely insane. So I definitely think that we're almost seeing a transition in terms of careers. I think that kids a couple of years ago were saying, "Oh, I want to be a CEO. I want to be a CEO of a company." But now it looks like the real dream is just making money off of your name, just being your own brand, which I think is a pretty cool transition. But even though this does show that they did make a lot more than other CEOs, there was still a large portion of CEOs that made over $100 million, which obviously they didn't rival. Activision CEO made $155 million. You had Tim Cook from Apple made $99 million, and a couple of other CEOs that made that as well. So the top 7 TikTok earners collectively made about $55.5 million, which is a 200% increase from the year prior. So what's going to be interesting is watching the increase from this year to the next year. So if you want to see that, consider subscribing. And nobody else really replied for comments. there wasn't too much that they wanted to talk about. And yeah, so that I just thought that was absolutely insane to see how much these sponsors are willing to pay to have these two TikTok stars mention their products. And also they've made a jump from TikTok. They're still on TikTok, I assume, but they made a jump from TikTok to TV. And they have a show called The D'Amelio Show, which airs on Hulu. And it said in here they had 90 million views, which is insane. But if you take a look at their TikTok numbers, that doesn't pale in comparison to how many billions of views they've gotten on TikTok. But 90 million people watching for 20, 30 minutes is a lot different than 100 billion people watching for a couple of seconds. So you do have that comparison, but they have both sides, which is absolutely insane. You also have Addison Rae. She made $8.5 million according to Forbes, and which put her slightly above the CEO of Costco, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, that guy, I mean, not saying that these people's lives are easy, but they can choose how much they do and don't put in. And these CEOs, I'm sure, are living pretty intense lives as well. I would love to see the comparison of a day in the life of like Addison Rae versus the CEO of Costco. I think that would be absolutely fascinating. They'd be completely two different lives and have different kinds of stresses, I think. So this was just something that I thought was absolutely fascinating, just learning how much these TikTok people actually make compared to CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. That obviously didn't pale anything in comparison to the Kardashians, when Kylie Jenner made about $590 million from selling her stake in her beauty brand to CoverGirl. So she had this beauty brand, and I imagine she sold some stock from it to CoverGirl, giving them part ownership in it for over $500 million. Absolutely insane. So this TikTok, what it says here is TikTok is just their entry point. I think that's absolutely incredible because you can get billions of eyeballs on you and then be able to take those eyeballs and transition it to a different stream of income, which I think isn't going away anytime soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And there is also one thing, speaking of TikTok, if you guys are tired of your kids on TikTok, or if your family members on TikTok, what I highly recommend is Clean Phone. The reason we love Clean Phone is because you can actually limit which apps your kids can and can't download. You can also pick how long they can and can't use an app. So if you don't want your kids to use an app for more than half an hour or an hour, you can set that restriction on your parent control app that goes to the Clean Phone, and it's all customizable. So it's per device and it's per situation, and you can change the device the older they get, the more responsible they become. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like always, see you next time. Happy investing.